I want to welcome you to a conversation that has the potential to alter the course of your life. We are not here today to discuss quick fixes or temporary schemes. We are here to discuss the fundamental difference between the life you currently have and the life you desperately want. You see, most people spend their entire lives chasing money, as if it is some distant prize waiting at the end of a long, winding road. They believe that if they just run faster or work longer hours, the prize will eventually be theirs. But here is the secret that is rarely spoken in our modern world. Wealth is not just a number in your bank account. It is a mindset, it is a discipline, and above all, it is a philosophy about life itself. To understand why the 97% of the population struggles, while the 3% thrives, we must first look at the environment in which we all live. Let us consider a very important question. Why is it that in the same country, under the same government, with the same economy, and the same opportunities, two people can arrive at such drastically different destinations? One man builds a fortune and a legacy of generosity while the other man finishes his life broke and bitter. They both have 24 hours in a day. They both face the same inflation and the same taxes. They both experience the same winters of difficulty and the same springs of opportunity. So if the external circumstances are exactly the same, what is the differ? This is the core philosophy you must understand before you can ever hope to master your finances. The economic wind blows on us all. The wind of change, the wind of circumstance, the wind of hardship and the wind of opportunity. It blows on the rich and it blows on the poor. It blows on the educated and the uneducated. You cannot change the wind. You cannot change the seasons. You cannot rearrange the economy of the world to suit your personal needs. But you can do something far more powerful. You can change the set of your sail. Most people who find themselves in the struggling 97% are there because they have never taken the time to adjust their sail. They simply drift. They allow the winds of the economy to blow them wherever it pleases. When the wind is favorable, they do okay. When the wind is harsh, they crash against the rocks. And then they make the fatal mistake of blaming the wind. They say, if the economy was better, I would be rich. If my employer paid more, I would be successful. If the taxes were lower, I would be happy. They are waiting for the wind to change. But I am here to tell you that the wind will not change for you. The only variable in this equation is you. This leads us to the definition of what I call your personal philosophy. Philosophy is not an academic subject reserved for universities. It is the guidance system of your life. It is the sum total of what you know and how you decide. It is the filter through which you view every event in your life. The 3% have a different philosophy than the 97%. Their philosophy tells them that they are the architects of their own future. The 97% have a philosophy that tells them they are victims of their circumstances. Let us dig deeper into this concept. Poverty begins in the mind long before it shows up in your wallet. Wealth begins the moment you decide to step off the beaten path and rewrite the story you have been telling yourself. The 3% understand that financial freedom is not about how much you make, but how you think and act and grow every single day. The difference is not luck. It is not education or connections. It is a way of seeing the world. It is a way of understanding your own worth and the invisible forces that shape your financial destiny. Consider the process of setting your sail. What does that actually mean in a practical sense? It means the accumulation of knowledge and the application of discipline. It means you must be careful what you let into your mind. Your mind is like a factory. Whatever ingredients you dump into it will determine the final product of your life. If you dump in skepticism and fear and laziness and wastefulness, you cannot expect the factory to produce wealth and achievement. It is impossible. You cannot plant the seeds of neglect and expect to harvest the fruit of success. The major key to your better future is you. This is a hard truth for many to accept because it removes all the excuses. If you want to have more, you simply must become more. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. If you want to be wealthy, you must attract wealth by becoming a person of value. You must become a person of discipline. You must become a person who understands how to manage resources. The tragedy of the 97% is that they do not plan to fail. They simply fail to plan. They do not deliberately set their sail toward the rocks. They just do not set it at all. They get up in the morning and they let the day dictate their actions. They let the television dictate their thoughts. They let their peers dictate their standards. This is called drifting. And in the ocean of life, you cannot drift your way to the top of the mountain. You have to climb, and the climb starts with a shift in your thinking. You must adopt the philosophy of total responsibility. You must say to yourself that if things are going to change, then I must change. If I want a better life, I must build a better me. This is the moment you leave the ranks of the average and begin your ascent toward the exceptional. It starts with a rejection of the status quo. It starts with the realization that the common view of money and life is fundamentally flawed. Most people look at a wealthy person and say, I wish I had his money. But they do not understand that the money is just the result. The money is the harvest. What they should be saying is, I wish I had his philosophy. I wish I had his attitude. I wish I had his discipline. Because if you gave $1 million to a person with a poverty philosophy, they would simply find a way to lose it. But if you took away all the money from a wealthy person who has the right philosophy, they would build it all back again. Why? Because wealth is not what they have. Wealth is who they are. This is why we say that income seldom exceeds personal development. You might get lucky and make a jump in income, but if your personal growth does not keep up with it, your income will eventually shrink back down to the level of your personal development. We see this all the time with lottery winners. They get the money, but they do not have the sails set to handle the wind of wealth. And soon enough, the money is gone. So, how do we begin to set this sail? We begin by refining our thoughts. We begin by asking ourselves better questions. Instead of asking, why is life so expensive, we ask, how can I become more valuable? Instead of asking, why is the economy so bad, we ask, what new skills can I learn to thrive in this economy? This shift in perspective is subtle, but it is powerful. It moves you from a passive victim to an active creator. The 3% have unlocked a profound truth. They know that the invisible creates the visible. Your bank account is just a visible report card of your invisible thinking patterns. If you do not like the report card, do not try to erase the grades. Change the study habits. Change the philosophy that produced the grades. As we move forward in this journey together, we are going to explore the specific mechanics of wealth. We are going to talk about value and systems and discipline. But none of those tools will work if your hand is not firm on the tiller of your own mind. You must decide today, right now, that you are done with drifting. You must decide that you are done with blaming. You must decide that from this day forward, you will be the captain of your soul and the master of your fate. The world is full of people waiting for a break. They are waiting for someone to come along and solve their problems. But no one is coming. You are the rescue team. You are the solution. Once you accept this heavy yet liberating truth, you are ready to receive the laws of wealth. You are ready to understand why the masses stay broke and how you can join the few who break free. We are about to discuss the law of value, which is the engine that drives all economic progress. But before we get there, let this concept of the sail sink deep into your consciousness. The same wind blows on us all. The difference is you, your thinking, your attitude, your philosophy. If you can change your mind, you can change your bank account. If you can change your philosophy, you can change your life. Let us now turn our attention to the vehicle that captures this wind and propels us forward. Let us talk about value and why the marketplace pays what it pays. Because once you set your sail correctly, you need to know exactly where you are going. And the destination is value. Now that we have established that the direction of your life is determined by the set of your sail and not the blowing of the wind, we must address the engine that drives your economic vessel forward. We must confront a brutal truth that the majority of people never fully grasp, and because they do not grasp it, they spend their lives bewildered and frustrated by their financial stagnation. We are going to talk about the law of value. This is the mechanism that determines why one person earns $10 an hour and another earns $500 an hour. Most people believe the lie that if they just work harder and put in longer hours, the money will eventually follow, but that is often the slowest path to success. We have all seen people who work until their hands are calloused and their backs are breaking, yet they barely scrape by. If hard work alone were the secret to wealth, then the people working 3 jobs would be the wealthiest among us, but we know that is not the case. The secret lies in understanding what the marketplace actually pays for. The marketplace does not pay for time. It pays for value. This is a critical distinction that you must burn into your mind. You will often hear people say, I make $20 an hour. That is not true. If it were true, you could just stay home and send in your time and they would send you the money. But they will not do that because they are not buying your time. They are buying the value you create during that time. The hour is simply the container for the value. If you fill that hour with low-value activities, you get a low wage. If you fill that hour with high-value activities, you get a high wage. The marketplace is a cold and impartial judge. It does not care about your needs. It does not care that you have a mortgage or that your car broke down or that you want a better life for your children. The marketplace only cares about one thing, and that is value. It rewards those who serve the many, and it rewards those who solve the difficult problems. This brings us to the most important piece of advice I can ever give you regarding your career and your income. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fine. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is super fine. What do I mean by working on yourself? I mean becoming more valuable. The only way to increase your income permanently is to increase your value to the marketplace. You cannot get rich by demand. You cannot get rich by pleading with your employer for a raise because you have bills to pay. You get a raise by becoming the person who is worth more. You must ask yourself, what kind of person commands a high income? It is the person who brings more to the table. It is the person who has sharpened their skills to a fine edge. It is the person who can see what others miss and who can lead where others follow. Let us look at the ladder of income. Why is the guy flipping burgers at the bottom of the ladder and the CEO at the top? Is the CEO a better human being? No. Is his family more important? No. Does he work 50 times harder physically? Absolutely not. He might be sitting in a chair while the other guy is sweating over a grill. The difference is that anyone can flip a burger. It is a skill that can be learned in an afternoon. The supply of people who can do that job is endless, therefore the value is low. But the CEO is making decisions that affect thousands of jobs and millions of dollars. He is solving complex problems of strategy and leadership. The supply of people who can do that is very small, therefore the value is high. If you want to move up the ladder, you do not need to sweat more, you need to become rare. You need to develop skills that are scarce and in demand. This is where the concept of self-education comes into play, which we will discuss more deeply later. But for now, understand that your formal education got you your job, but your self-education will get you your promotion. You must be constantly asking yourself, how can I be more valuable today than I was yesterday? Maybe it is learning a second language. Maybe it is mastering the art of public speaking so you can persuade and inspire. Maybe it is learning how to close a sale or how to organize a team. Every new skill you acquire is like adding a new tool to your toolbox. When the marketplace has a problem, it looks for the person with the best toolbox. If all you have is a hammer, you can only do one job. But if you have a full set of precision tools, you can build a skyscraper. There is a philosophy you must adopt if you want to escape the 97%. Do not wish it were easier, wish you were better. Do not wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Do not wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. The 97% are always wishing for things to be easier. They want the government to fix the economy. They want the company to lower the targets. They want the world to be less harsh, but things are not going to get easier. Winter is always going to follow autumn. The economy will always have cycles. Competition will always be fierce. You cannot change the difficulty of the course, but you can increase the strength of the runner. You must focus on what you can control, and the only thing you can control is your own development. The day you stop growing is the day your income stops growing. I remember early in my career, I was hoping that the economy would change. I was hoping that my company would change. I was hoping my paycheck would change. And my mentor said to me, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. That was the turning point. I stopped looking out the window, blaming the circumstances, and I started looking in the mirror. I realized that my bank account was a direct reflection of my personal value. If I wanted to multiply my earnings, I had to multiply my value. You can have more than you have got because you can become more than you are. This is the miracle of personal development. You are not a tree. You are not stuck where you are. You can grow. You can learn. You can transform. Let us talk about the concept of solving problems. The size of your income will be directly determined by the size of the problems you solve. If you solve small problems, you get small pay. If you solve big problems, you get big pay. The dentist gets paid more than the receptionist because the dentist solves a bigger, more painful, and more technical problem. If you are broke, it is likely because you are not solving enough problems for enough people. The 3% are essentially professional problem solvers. They look for needs in the marketplace, and they fill them. They look for pain, and they provide relief. They look for confusion, and they provide clarity. Instead of running away from problems like the masses do, the wealthy run toward them because they know that hidden inside every problem is a seed of opportunity. We must also address the factor of scale. You can create value for one person, or you can create value for a million people. The teacher who teaches one student creates value, but the teacher who records a lesson and broadcasts it to the world creates immense value through scale. In our modern world, technology has given us the ability to scale our value like never before. You must think about how you can serve the many. Service to many leads to greatness. It is a biblical principle, and it is an economic principle. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. It is that simple. The focus must shift from what can I get to what can I give. When you focus on giving value, the receiving takes care of itself. Many people in the 97% operate from a place of entitlement. They feel the world owes them a living. They feel they deserve a good salary just because they showed up. But the world owes you nothing. It was here before you, and it will be here after you. You have to plant before you can harvest. You have to give before you can receive. This is the law of sowing and reaping. You cannot say to the soil, "Give me a harvest, and then I will plant the seeds." The soil will laugh at you. You must plant the seed of value first. You must water it with effort and discipline. You must protect it with persistence. And only then does the marketplace reward you with the harvest of wealth. We have now established that your philosophy sets your course, and your value determines your income potential. But here is where the tragedy often occurs. I have met countless people who have mastered the art of earning high incomes. They are talented, they are valuable, they bring home large paychecks that would make the average person gasp. Yet they are broke. They are living on the edge of financial disaster. They drive luxury cars to jobs that stress them out to pay for houses they hardly ever see. They are high-income poor people. How is this possible? It is possible because while they learned how to make money flow in, they never learned how to stop it from flowing out. They are trying to carry water in a sieve. It does not matter how much water you pour into a bucket if there is a hole in the bottom. Today, we are going to fix the hole. We are going to discuss the discipline of management, and specifically, the golden rule of wealth, which is to pay yourself first. Most people have the financial equation completely backward. They operate on a philosophy that says, I will spend what I need to live, I will pay my bills, and if there is anything left over at the end of the month, I will save it. This is the philosophy of the 97%. And let me tell you what happens. There is never anything left over. Parkinson's law states that expenses will always rise to meet income. If you make more, you spend more. You get a raise, and suddenly you need a better apartment. You get a bonus, and suddenly you need a new television. You are like a hamster on a wheel running faster and faster, but never actually moving forward. You are working for the landlord. You are working for the bank. You are working for the tax man. You are working for the grocery store. You are working for everyone else except the person who matters most, which is you. To join the 3%, you must flip this equation on its head. You must adopt a new rule that is non-negotiable. When you receive $1, the first person who gets paid is you. Not the electric company. Not the landlord. You. This is called paying yourself first. It means you take a percentage of your income off the top and you move it into a fortress where it cannot be touched. This money is not for spending. This money is for capital. There is a profound difference between money for spending and capital for investing. Money for spending is temporary. It buys you bread. It buys you shelter. It is gone once it is used. Capital is different. Capital is a seed. If you eat your seeds, you will never have a harvest. The 97% eat their seeds every single month and then wonder why their field is empty. The 3% plant their seeds and wait for the harvest. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You are saying that sounds great, but I cannot afford to pay myself first. I can barely pay my bills as it is. I am drowning in expenses. Let me give you a hard truth. If you cannot live on 100% of your income, you can certainly live on 90%. The difference in lifestyle between living on all of your money and living on most of your money is invisible. You will not even notice it. It is just a matter of adjustment. It is a matter of discipline. If the government suddenly raised taxes by 10% tomorrow, you would scream and complain, but you would pay it. You would find a way to survive. You would cut back. You would adjust? So why is it that you will adjust for the government, but you will not adjust for your own future? Why are you more afraid of the tax collector than you are of a poverty-stricken old age? Let us get specific about the numbers. I want to teach you the 70-30 rule. It is a simple formula for wealth distribution that can change your life. After you pay your taxes, you should learn to live on 70% of your net income. This covers your necessities and your luxuries. It covers your food and your shelter and your entertainment. If you cannot fit your life into 70%, then you need to simplify your life, or you need to go back to part 2 and increase your value to earn more. But do not touch the other 30%. The other 30% is allocated for the design of your future. The first 10% should go to charity. I know this sounds counterintuitive. You are thinking, I am trying to save money, why should I give it away? Because giving begins the receiving process. It teaches you that there is more than enough. It breaks the grip of greed. When you give, you declare to the universe that you have abundance. You cannot be generous and poor in spirit at the same time. Investing in others is the best investment you can make for your soul. The next 10% goes to active capital. This is money you use to buy and sell. This is money for a side hustle. This is money to buy a lawnmower to cut grass on weekends, or to buy a product to resell for a profit. Wages make you a living, but profits make you a fortune. You need to learn how to turn $1 into $2 through your own activity. This keeps you sharp. This teaches you commerce. This reminds you that you are a producer, not just a consumer. The final 10%, and this is the most critical for long-term freedom, goes to passive capital. This is money you invest in vehicles that work while you sleep. Stocks, bonds, real estate, mutual funds. This is the money that eventually replaces your working income. This 10% is your freedom fund. You never touch the principal. You only ever spend the interest, and even then you should reinvest the interest for as long as possible. Imagine your money as employees. Every dollar you save is an employee that you send out into the world to work for you. And the beautiful thing about money employees is that they do not call in sick. They do not take vacations. They do not complain. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you invest wisely, they have children. The interest they earn is their children. And then the children start working for you. And then the children have children. This is called compound interest, and it is the 8th wonder of the world. But if you spend that original dollar, you have just killed the employee. You have murdered the potential generations of workers that could have supported you in your old age. When you look at $1, do not just see a cup of coffee. See a worker. Ask yourself, do I want to fire this worker for a temporary taste of caffeine, or do I want to employ him for life? The habit is more important than the amount. This is what you must understand. I often hear young people say, I will start saving when I make more money. Right now I am broke, so it does not matter. This is a fatal error. If you cannot manage $10, you will never be able to manage $10,000. The universe does not give large amounts to people who mishandle small amounts. It is a universal law. If you are a poor manager of a little, you will be a poor manager of a lot. You must prove you can handle the little. Even if you are completely broke, take $1 and separate it. Put 10 cents in savings. It seems silly. It seems insignificant. But you are not just saving 10 cents. You are building a new neural pathway in your brain. You are telling your subconscious mind that you are now a money manager. You are changing your identity. When I was broke and struggling, my mentor asked me how much money I carried in my pocket. I said none, because I have none. He told me to find a $100 bill and put it in my pocket and never spend it. He said, just keep it there. I asked why. He said, because you need to feel wealthy. You need to walk around knowing you have capital. It changes how you walk. It changes how you sit. It changes how you feel about yourself. When you have savings, you have a spine. When you have zero, you are fearful. You take abuse from your boss because you are one paycheck away from homelessness. But when you have a year of expenses saved up, you walk tall. You speak your truth. Money in the bank is not just currency, it is courage. It is dignity. This philosophy of paying yourself first requires you to wage a war against the culture of consumerism. We live in a world that is designed to separate you from your money. Every billboard, every commercial, every notification on your phone is a sophisticated attempt to reach into your pocket. The 97% are easy victims. They see it, they want it, they buy it. They are driven by impulse. They are driven by the need to impress people they do not even like. You must become sophisticated. You must realize that true wealth is stealth. True wealth is not the car you drive, it is the freedom you have. The guy in the Ferrari might be up to his eyeballs in debt and stress. The guy in the old pickup truck might own the bank. Do not be fooled by appearances. You must fall in love with the process of building your net worth more than you love the process of spending. There is a deep satisfaction that comes from watching your accounts grow. It is better than the sugar rush of buying a new gadget. It is the satisfaction of safety. It is the satisfaction of progress. When you look at your savings and see it growing month by month, you realize that you are winning the game. You are no longer a slave to the system, you are becoming a master of it. I want you to imagine two futures. In the first future, you continue as you are. You spend everything. You live for the weekend. You buy things to feel better. 30 years from now, you are tired. You are old. You want to stop working, but you cannot. You are dependent on the government or your children to survive. You look back with regret at the millions of dollars that passed through your hands but slipped away. That is the future of the 97%. Now imagine the second future. Today you decide to keep 10 or 20%. It hurts a little. You have to say no to some things. You drive the old car a little longer. You cook at home instead of eating out. But 10 years from now you have options. 20 years from now you have security. 30 years from now you are entirely free. You can work if you want to, but you do not have to. You can travel. You can give generously. You are the patriarch or matriarch of your family, who changed the family tree forever. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Paying yourself first is a discipline. It will sting at first like going to the gym after years of being sedentary. Your muscles will ache. Your ego will complain. But soon you will see results. Soon you will feel stronger. And eventually it will become an addiction. You will not be able to sleep at night unless you know you have saved your portion. That is when you know you have graduated. That is when you know you are on your way to the top. So here is your assignment. Go to your bank. Set up an automatic transfer. Do not rely on your memory. Do not rely on your willpower. Willpower is a muscle that gets tired. Systems never get tired. Set it up so that the moment your paycheck hits your account, 10% disappears into a savings account that you do not have a debit card for. Make it hard to access. Make it invisible. Learn to live on the rest. If you do this, I promise you that 5 years from now, you will look back on this moment as the turning point of your life. You will realize that this simple, boring, mechanical act of paying yourself first was the foundation upon which you built an empire. We have talked about the philosophy. We have talked about the value. We have talked about the management. But there is an enemy lurking in the shadows. An enemy that can undo all of this hard work in a single moment of weakness. That enemy is your own emotion. Wealth is not just about math, it is about psychology. In the next part of our journey, we are going to explore the battle between your emotions and your intellect. We are going to learn how to master the impulses that keep the poor poor. Because if you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control your money. Before we move to the next critical battlefield, the war between your emotions and your intellect, I want to ask you a question. Are you serious about mastering these disciplines? The concepts we are discussing today, from the law of value to paying yourself first, are just the beginning of the Jim Rohn philosophy. If you are committed to leaving the 97% behind, do not just watch this video and forget it. I invite you to subscribe to the channel right now. By subscribing, you are not just supporting us, you are curating your own environment. You are ensuring that wisdom, not distraction, appears on your feed. We have a complete series of deep dive lectures coming up that will cover every aspect of wealth building. Don't miss the next lesson. Click that subscribe button, hit the bell, and let's continue building your fortune together. Now, let's address the enemy that destroys more wealth than any market crash, your own emotions. We have arrived at the battlefield where the war for your financial soul is truly fought. We have discussed the philosophy of the sale and the law of value and the discipline of paying yourself first. These are powerful concepts. If you followed them logically, you would be rich. It sounds so simple on paper. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference. Compound it over time. A 10-year-old child could understand the math. So why is it that intelligent, educated adults who can solve complex calculus problems or run massive corporations still find themselves drowning in consumer debt? Why do we make decisions that we know are bad for us? The answer lies in the conflict between your emotion and your intellect. We like to think of ourselves as rational creatures who make decisions based on logic and data. But the truth is we are emotional creatures who use logic to justify what our emotions have already decided to do. This is the trap of the 97%. They let their emotions drive the car while their intellect is gagged and tied up in the trunk. The marketplace knows this. The entire global economy is designed to exploit your emotions. Billions of dollars are spent on advertising every year not to explain the features of a product but to manipulate how you feel. They sell you safety. They sell you status. They sell you love. They sell you belonging. They are not selling you a car, they are selling you the feeling of being important. They are not selling you a sugary drink, they are selling you the feeling of happiness. And because you are human, you respond. You buy the feeling. But here is the tragedy. The feeling is temporary. You buy the new gadget because you are bored or stressed or feeling inadequate. You get a rush of dopamine. For a moment you feel better, you feel successful. But the moment passes. The new car smell fades. The clothes go out of style. The gadget becomes obsolete. And what are you left with? You are left with the bill. You are left with less freedom. You are left with the regret that comes from realizing you have traded your hard-earned freedom for a fleeting moment of emotional relief. This is the cycle of the poor. They try to cure internal dissatisfaction with external spending. It is like trying to put a Band-Aid on a broken heart. It does not work, and it costs you your future. The 3% operate differently. It is not that they do not have emotions. They are human just like you. They feel the same desire for the shiny object. They feel the same fear of missing out. The difference is that they have trained their intellect to intervene. They have installed a pause button between the stimulus and the response. When the impulse to spend arises, the wealthy person steps back and consults their logic. They ask questions that the poor are afraid to ask. They ask, is this purchase an asset or a liability? Will this buy me freedom or will it buy me chains? Does this align with the vision I have for my life 5 years from now, or is it just a distraction for today? This brings us to the concept of the financial gap. The gap between what you want now and what you want most. The intellect is focused on what you want most, which is liberty, security, and options. The emotion is focused on what you want now, which is comfort, pleasure, and social validation. If you cannot bridge this gap, you will never be wealthy. You must learn to delay gratification. This is the hallmark of maturity. Children want everything now. Adults understand that waiting yields a better harvest. The farmer who eats his seeds because he is hungry today will starve next winter. You must be the adult in your own financial life. You must tell the inner child no. One of the most powerful tools your intellect can use to defeat unruly emotions is the power of clarity. You cannot manage what you do not measure. The 97% often live in a state of financial fog. They do not know exactly how much they spent on food last month. They do not know their exact net worth. They avoid looking at their bank balance because it makes them feel anxious. They prefer the comfort of ignorance. But ignorance is not bliss, ignorance is poverty. Wealth is built on the foundation of relentless clarity. You must be brave enough to turn on the lights. I challenge you to track every single penny that leaves your hands for the next 30 days. I do not mean just the big bills. I mean every coffee, every snack, every subscription. Write it down. Use a notebook or a spreadsheet. When you track your spending, you force your intellect to pay attention. It is easy to spend $5 on a coffee when you swipe a card and forget about it. It is much harder to spend that money when you have to write it down and look at it. The act of tracking introduces friction. It slows you down. It forces you to confront the reality of your habits. You will look at your list at the end of the week, and you will be shocked. You will see patterns you did not know existed. You will see how much money is leaking out of your life on things that bring you zero value. This practice of tracking is not about restriction, it is about empowerment. When you see the numbers, you move from the realm of guessing and hoping into the realm of knowing and deciding. The 97% guess. The 3% know. When you know where your money is going, you can tell it where to go. You become the master instead of the servant. You can look at a category like dining out and say, I am spending $500 a month on food that makes me unhealthy. If I cut that in half, I could invest $3,000 a year. That is the voice of the intellect. That is the voice of wealth. We must also address the emotion of envy. This is perhaps the most destructive financial emotion of all. We live in a society of comparison. You scroll through social media and you see the highlight reels of everyone else's life. You see the vacations and the cars and the dinners. And a voice inside you whispers, I am falling behind. I need to look successful to be successful. So you spend money, you do not have to buy things, you do not need to impress people you do not even like. This is the definition of insanity. You are destroying your actual wealth to build an illusion of wealth. The 3% have immune systems against envy. They understand that net worth is not visible. You cannot see a stock portfolio. You cannot see a paid-off mortgage. You cannot see financial peace of mind. What you see is the stuff. And often the people with the most stuff have the most debt. The guy driving the luxury car might be 2 months away from bankruptcy. Do not envy a lifestyle that is built on a house of cards. Focus on your own race. Focus on your own wall. Build in silence. Let your bank account grow while your ego shrinks. True wealth is quiet. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that if you lost your job today, you would be fine for 5 years. That is a feeling better than any luxury car can ever provide. You must develop a relationship with truth. The emotions lie to you. They tell you that you deserve a treat because you had a hard week. They tell you that you will start saving next month. They tell you that this one purchase won't hurt. The intellect tells the truth. The numbers tell the truth. 2 plus 2 is always 4. If you spend more than you earn, you will go broke. That is the cold, hard truth. You need to fall in love with the truth even when it hurts. Because the truth is the only thing that can set you free. How do we strengthen the intellect to win this battle? We do it through association and environment. If you hang around people who spend recklessly, you will spend recklessly. We are social animals and we mimic the herd. If your 5 closest friends spend every weekend at the mall and every evening at expensive restaurants, you will feel an enormous emotional pressure to join them. You need to curate your environment. Spend time with people who discuss ideas, not things. Spend time with people who are building their future, not just spending their present. Read books that reinforce your philosophy. Listen to voices that remind you of your long-term goals. You need to constantly feed your intellect so that it is strong enough to stand up to your emotions. Think of your money as soldiers in a battle for your freedom. Every time you spend emotionally, you are sending your soldiers on a suicide mission. You are trading a fighter for a trinket. But every time you use your intellect to save and invest, you are recruiting more soldiers. You are building an army, and one day that army will be strong enough to conquer the territory of financial independence for you. You will no longer have to work for money, your army will fight for you. But to build that army, you must win the daily skirmishes against your own impulses. The next time you are about to make a purchase, stop. Take a deep breath, count to 10, walk away for 24 hours. Apply the 30-day rule for big purchases. If you still want it after 30 days and you can pay cash for it and it does not derail your investment plan, then maybe you can buy it. But you will find that in 90% of cases, the urge will pass. The emotion will fade and your intellect will thank you. You will feel a sense of victory, and that victory is addictive. The feeling of saving money is actually better than the feeling of spending it once you rewire your brain. You start to get a dopamine rush from seeing your net worth go up. You start to get excited about compounding. You start to feel proud of your discipline. That is when you know you have crossed the bridge. You are the only person who can stop you. No economy, no government, no bad luck can destroy a man who has mastered his own emotions. But no amount of luck or high income can save a man who is a slave to his impulses. The war is inside you. The enemy is in the mirror. But so is the hero. Defeat the impulsive child within you, and let the wise architect take charge. When logic rules your wallet and emotion serves your life, you have found the balance of the wealthy. Now that we have tamed the emotions, we need a mechanism to ensure that we do not have to fight this battle every single hour of every single day. We need to talk about automation and systems. We need to talk about how the 3% make success inevitable. We have spoken about the internal war between your emotions and your intellect. But now we must look outward to the universal laws that govern growth itself. If you want to understand wealth, you do not need to look at Wall Street, you need to look at the soil. You need to study the seasons. You need to think like a farmer. The 97% of people who stay broke approach money with the mindset of a gambler or a hunter. The hunter wants to kill something today to eat today. If he misses, he starves. The gambler wants to put a coin in the slot machine and hit the jackpot immediately. They are looking for the event. They are looking for the lightning strike. But the 3% who build lasting dynasties possess the mindset of the farmer. They understand that wealth is not an event, it is a process. It is organic. It follows a specific unbreakable cycle of nature that cannot be cheated and cannot be rushed. The first lesson of the farmer is the law of sowing and reaping. This is the most fundamental law of the universe. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. It sounds simple, but let us break down the profound implications of this law for your financial life. First, you must sow. If you have no seeds in the ground, it does not matter how much you pray or how much you hope or how good a person you are, you will have no harvest. You cannot say to the soil, give me a crop and then I will plant. It does not work that way. You must take the capital you saved in the previous step, the money you paid yourself first, and you must put it into the ground. In financial terms, this means investing. Leaving your money in a savings account is like leaving your seed in a sack in the barn. It is safe, but it will never multiply. It might even be eaten by the rats of inflation. To get a harvest, you must risk the seed. You must cast it into the market. You must buy the stock or the real estate or the business equity. You have to let it go to let it grow. The second part of the law is that you reap what you sow. If you sow wheat, you get wheat. You do not get corn. If you sow financial discipline, you reap freedom. If you sow financial negligence, you reap debt. You cannot sow the seeds of immediate gratification, spending every dollar you earn on toys and entertainment, and then expect to reap a harvest of wealth. The soil is impartial. It does not care who you are. It only returns what you put in. If you plant nothing, you get nothing. Actually, that is not entirely true. If you plant nothing, you do not get nothing, you get weeds. This is a critical realization. You do not have to plant weeds. They grow automatically. Financial chaos grows automatically. Debt grows automatically. If you do nothing, your financial garden will be overrun by the weeds of poverty. Positive wealth requires intentional planting. Negative poverty requires only neglect. The third part of the law is the one that separates the wealthy from the rest. You reap later than you sow. This is where the 97% fail. We live in a microwave society. We want instant food, instant communication, and instant wealth. But nature does not rush. You cannot plant the seed on Monday and expect to eat the fruit on Tuesday. There is a season of waiting. There is a time gap. This gap is called the summer. The summer is the season of hard work and patience. It is when the sun is hot and the bugs are trying to eat your crop and the rain is scarce. In your financial life, this represents the years of discipline, where you are investing but you do not yet look rich. You are driving the old car while your friends are driving the new ones. You are staying in while they are going out. You are watering your seeds in the dark. It is easy to get discouraged in the summer. You look at the ground and you see just a tiny sprout and you think, is this all there is? Is all this sacrifice worth it? The 3% have the vision to see the forest inside the acorn. They know that the waiting is not wasted time, it is gestation time. You cannot force the harvest. 9 women cannot have a baby in 1 month. You must respect the season of time. The final part of the law is the miracle. You reap more than you sow. You plant one tiny seed, and if you protect it and nurture it, it produces a stalk with hundreds of new seeds. This is the law of multiplication. This is compound interest. This is how a few $1,000s invested consistently over 20 or 30 years turns into millions. The farmer does not just get his seed back, he gets a return on his investment that is exponential. But you only get the multiplication if you endure the waiting. The 97% dig up their seeds in the middle of summer because they are hungry. They raid their retirement accounts to pay for a vacation. They sell their investments when the market dips because they are afraid. They kill the process before the miracle of multiplication can happen. Now let us talk about the tools of the farmer. A farmer does not just throw seeds and walk away. He builds a system. He uses irrigation. He uses plows. He has a routine. In your financial life, you must replace willpower with systems. Willpower is a limited resource. You will have days where you feel weak. You will have days where you want to spend. If you rely on your decision-making power every single day, you will eventually lose. The 3% automate their farms. They set up automatic transfers that move money from their checking account to their investment account the moment the paycheck arrives. They do not see the money, so they do not spend it. They use the tool of dollar cost averaging, which means buying a fixed dollar amount of an investment on a regular schedule regardless of the share price. This removes the emotion. The farmer does not look at the weather report every 5 minutes and panic. He just keeps to his schedule. He knows that over the long run, the seasons will average out and the crop will come. By automating your finances, you are building an irrigation system that waters your wealth even when you are sleeping, even when you are on vacation, even when you are sick. The system works harder than you do. The system is relentless. The system is the secret. You cannot become wealthy by manual labor alone. You must have machines working for you. In the old days, it was physical machines. Today, it is financial machines. Mutual funds, index funds, rental properties, these are your machines. Your job is to build the machine and keep it oiled, not to do all the work yourself. We must also discuss the enemies of the farmer, the weeds and the pests in your life. Weeds are the small expenses that creep up on you, the subscriptions you do not use, the fees you do not notice, the inflation of your lifestyle. Weeds suck the nutrients out of the soil. They take the energy that should be going to your wealth crop. A good farmer walks his fields with a hoe in his hand looking for weeds. You must review your bank statements with a ruthless eye. You must cut out the waste. Every dollar that goes to a weed is a dollar that cannot become a tree. You must be vigilant. You must be the guardian of your garden. There is also the weather, the storms, the droughts. In finance, these are the recessions, the market crashes, the economic downturns. The 97% panic when the storm comes. They sell at the bottom. They run for cover. The farmer knows that storms are part of nature. He prepares for them. He has a barn. He has reserves. When the winter comes, he does not freeze to death because he spent the summer preparing. You need an emergency fund. You need insurance. You need diversification. Do not put all your crop in one field. Plant different crops so that if one fails, the other thrives. This is the wisdom of the earth applied to the ledger. The beautiful thing about the farmer's mindset is that it brings peace. When you understand the laws of sowing and reaping, you stop worrying about luck. You stop being jealous of others. You realize that your harvest is entirely dependent on your sowing. If you want more corn, plant more corn. If you want more money, invest more capital. It is cause and effect. It removes the mystery. It puts the power back in your hands. You are not a victim of the economy. You are a cultivator of your own economy. You can look at a barren field and see a future harvest because you know what you are willing to plant. Consider the bamboo tree. You plant the seed, and for 5 years you see nothing. You water it, you fertilize it, and the ground looks exactly the same. The neighbors might laugh at you. They say you are wasting your time. But underground, a massive root system is developing. It is preparing a foundation strong enough to hold up a giant. Then in the 5th year, the bamboo tree shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. Did it grow 80 feet in 6 weeks? No. It grew 80 feet in 5 years and 6 weeks. The 97% see the sudden wealth of a successful person and call it an overnight success. They did not see the 5 years of watering the empty ground. They did not see the discipline. They did not see the systems. Do not be fooled by the optical illusion of speed. Wealth is a slow bake, not a microwave dinner. If you are currently in a financial winter where things are cold and hard, do not despair. Winter is necessary. Winter is the time to sharpen your tools. It is the time to plan for the next spring. The seasons always turn. Spring will come. Opportunity will return. But will you be ready? Will you have your seeds purchased and your systems in place? Or will you arrive at spring with empty hands and a complaining heart? The 3% use the winter to get better, so that when the spring comes, they can take massive advantage. They do not wish for the winter to end, they work on their ability to survive it. Ultimately, the farmer's mindset is about faith. Not blind faith, but faith in the laws of nature. Faith that if I do the work, if I follow the system, if I protect the crop, the harvest will come. It has to come. It is the law. You can trust the law. You can bank on the law. Stop trying to find shortcuts. Stop trying to outsmart the seasons. Settle down into the rhythm of discipline. Plant your seeds. Water them with consistency. Pull the weeds of distraction. and wait with active patience. Your harvest is coming. But there is one more critical element. A farmer can have the best soil and the best seeds, but if he does not know how to farm, he will fail. He needs knowledge. He needs to understand the soil chemistry. He needs to understand the climate. This leads us to the next pillar of our philosophy, the difference between the labor of the body and the labor of the mind. We must talk about education. Not the education that gets you a diploma, but the education that gets you freedom. We are moving from the field to the library. We have covered the philosophy of the sale and the law of value and the discipline of paying yourself first and the mastery of emotion and the patience of the farmer. You now have the structure of a wealthy life. You have the vehicle, but a vehicle without fuel is just a statue. It looks good, but it goes nowhere. The fuel of the wealthy life is knowledge. Not just any knowledge, but specialized, applicable wisdom. This brings us to the most critical distinction in your entire financial journey. We must distinguish between formal education and self-education. There is a phrase that I want you to write on the tablet of your heart and never forget. Formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Most people believe that their education ends the day they graduate from school. They toss their cap in the air, they get their diploma, and they say, "Thank goodness that is over. I never have to open another book again." This is the moment they unknowingly sign a contract with mediocrity. They have decided to stop growing. And in nature, whatever stops growing starts dying. Formal education is designed to shape you into a functional employee. It teaches you how to follow rules, how to show up on time, and how to perform a specific task. There is nothing wrong with that. It is necessary. It keeps the lights on, but it will rarely make you wealthy. Wealth requires a different curriculum. Wealth requires you to study subjects that are never taught in a classroom. Subjects like goal setting, time management, leadership, psychology, and financial literacy. The 97% suffer from a disease I call mental malnutrition. They feed their bodies 3 times a day. They would never dream of starving their stomach, but they starve their minds for years. They come home from work and they switch on the television. They fill their heads with entertainment sitcoms, news cycles of doom and gloom and gossip. They are distracting themselves to death. They say, "I am too tired to read. I just want to relax." And I understand that feeling. But you must understand the cost. The cost of entertainment is your future. The 3% understand that your mind is a factory. If you dump trash into the factory, you will get trash out of the factory. If you dump in negativity and distraction, you will produce anxiety and stagnation. But if you dump in the best thoughts of the wisest men and women in history, you will produce ideas that can change the world. Let us talk about the library. We are living in the most fortunate time in human history. For 5,000 years, the secrets of wealth and happiness were hidden or lost. But today they are all written down. Every problem you have ever faced or will ever face has already been solved by someone else. And the incredible thing is that they wrote down the answer. They spent a lifetime figuring it out, and then they put it in a book that you can buy for the price of a modest meal. It is astounding to me that people will complain about their finances, yet they have never read a single book on money. They will complain about their health, but never read a book on nutrition. They will complain about their relationships, but never read a book on communication. This is not a lack of opportunity, this is a lack of appetite. If a man creates a multi-million-dollar empire starting from nothing, and he writes a book detailing exactly how he did it, and you do not read it, that is not a tragedy of circumstance, that is a tragedy of choice. You have chosen to ignore the map. You are wandering in the wilderness looking for a way out while the map is sitting on the shelf collecting dust. The wealthy are voracious readers. They are constantly hunting for one new idea. Just one idea found in a book can save you 5 years of trial and error. Just one idea can double your income. Just one idea can save your marriage. Is that not worth 30 minutes a day? I challenge you to adopt the 30-minute rule. Commit to reading just 30 minutes a day. That does not sound like much, but let us do the math. If you read for 30 minutes, you can likely finish a chapter. If you do that every day, you can finish a book in 2 weeks. That is 25 books a year. In 10 years, that is 250 books. Imagine the difference between you and your competition if you have absorbed the wisdom of 250 of the greatest minds in history, and they have only watched 250 seasons of a TV show. The gap between you and them will be so wide that they will not even be able to see you. You will be operating in a different dimension of reality. But reading is only one form of self-education. We must also talk about the university on wheels. How much time do you spend in your car or on public transport commuting to work? The average American spends hundreds of hours a year in transit. For the 97%, this is dead time. They listen to the radio, which is just chewing gum for the ears. It is noise. Or they listen to the news, which just makes them angry and fearful. The 3% turn their car into a classroom. They listen to audiobooks. They listen to educational podcasts. They listen to lectures. They turn their downtime into uptime. If you drive to work every day, you could be getting the equivalent of a PhD in leadership or sales or finance every few years just by listening while you drive. Do not let those hours vanish. Reclaim them. And it is not just about books and audio. It is about association. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you spend your time with people who are broke, negative, and unambitious, you will become the 6th one. It is inevitable. Their philosophy will rub off on you. Their doubts will become your doubts. Their spending habits will become your spending habits. If you want to be wealthy, you must get around wealthy people. You must listen to how they talk. You must observe how they tip waiters. You must see how they handle problems. If you cannot get around them physically, read their biographies. Watch their interviews. Let their voices drown out the voices of mediocrity. You must guard the door of your mind. Do not let anyone walk through it with their muddy feet. There is another powerful tool for self-education that is often overlooked. It is the journal. I'm not talking about a diary where you write, "Dear diary, today I ate a sandwich." I am talking about a serious tool for capturing value. Jim Rohn always said, "Do not trust your memory. We are leaky vessels. We hear a great idea, we think we will remember it forever, and by lunchtime it is gone." You must become a student of your own life. When you hear something valuable, write it down. When you make a mistake, write it down and analyze it so you do not repeat it. When you have a victory, write it down so you can repeat it. Your life is worth studying. Your past is a school, but only if you take notes. A life worth living is a life worth recording. The process of self-education changes who you are. And as we discussed in the beginning of this journey, your income is a reflection of who you are. When you learn more, you become more valuable. When you become more valuable, the marketplace pays you more. It is a beautiful cycle. The more you learn, the more you earn. And the more you earn, the more you can invest in your learning. You can attend seminars, you can hire coaches, you can travel. The cycle spirals upward. But it starts with the humility to admit that you do not know everything. It starts with the hunger to know more. The arrogance of the broke is that they think they know it all. They have an opinion on everything. They will tell you exactly how to run the economy, even though they cannot run their own household. The wealthy are humble. They ask questions. They are curious. They say, "I do not know, please teach me." Be a student. Be a sponge. Never lose that childlike curiosity. The world is changing so fast. The skills that got you your job today might be obsolete in 5 years. The only job security you have is your ability to learn new things. If you can learn, you can adapt. If you can adapt, you can survive and thrive in any economy. Self-education is also about studying the negative. Study failure. Do not just study success. Study why people go bankrupt so you can avoid their mistakes. Study why businesses fail. History is a graveyard of good intentions and bad philosophies. Learn from them so you do not have to become one of them. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Fools learn from their own mistakes. And the tragic ones never learn at all. Be the wise person. Let the pain of others be your teacher so you do not have to feel the pain yourself. This commitment to learning requires discipline. It is easy to watch a movie. It is hard to read a text on economics. It is easy to sleep in. It is hard to wake up early to study. But remember, the pain of discipline is ounces and the pain of regret is tons. Do not arrive at the end of your life with a head full of trivia and an empty bank account. Arrive with a mind sharpened by the classics and a life enriched by the application of truth. Think of your mind as a garden. If you tend to it, if you plant the seeds of knowledge, if you water it with study and pull the weeds of distraction, it will bloom into a paradise. It will produce fruit that will feed you and your family for generations. But if you neglect it, if you let the weeds take over, it will become a jungle of confusion. The choice is yours. The library is open. The books are waiting. The audio is ready. The mentors are speaking. Are you listening? The transformation that happens through self-education is not just financial. It is spiritual. It gives you confidence. When you know how the world works, you are less afraid of it. When you know you have the skills to handle whatever comes, you walk with a different stride. You become a leader. People start looking to you for answers. And that is when the true rewards of life begin to flow. Not just money, but respect, influence, and the joy of helping others. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You must fill your cup first. Fill it with knowledge. Fill it with skills. Fill it with wisdom. And then you can pour it out to the world. So here is my instruction to you. Turn off the television. Put down the phone unless you are using it to learn. Pick up a book. Start a journal. Listen to a lecture on your way to work tomorrow. Make a small investment in your own mind. It pays the highest interest rate of any investment in the world. Benjamin Franklin said it best. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Do not shortchange yourself. Do not be cheap with your own future. Buy the book. Take the course. Go to the seminar. You are the asset. Treat yourself like one. We have now built the entire philosophy. We have the sales set. We have the value engine. We have the financial defense. We have the emotional control. We have the farmer's patience. And now we have the fuel of self-education. We are ready to bring this all together. We are ready to issue the final challenge. Because knowing all of this is useless if you do not do something about it. Knowledge without action is merely entertainment. We are about to cross the line from knowing to doing. We are about to rewrite your history. We have arrived at the final gate. We have spent this time together walking through the architecture of wealth, and now you stand at the threshold of a new life. But standing at the threshold is not the same as walking through the door. The tragedy of the human experience is that the gap between knowing and doing is often wider than the Grand Canyon. You now possess the map. We have discussed the set of the sail and how your philosophy determines your destination. We have explored the law of value and how you must become more to have more. We have debated the necessity of paying yourself first and building a fortress of capital. We have exposed the war between your emotion and your intellect. We have learned the patience of the farmer and the necessity of systems. And we have unlocked the vault of self-education. You have the keys. The question that remains, the only question that truly matters, is, will you turn the key? Most people will not. I want to be honest with you because I respect you too much to lie to you. The gravity of the 97% is incredibly strong. It pulls you back toward mediocrity. It pulls you back toward the comfort of the herd. The moment this video ends, the world will try to snatch this seed of greatness out of your hand. The television will call your name. Your friends will invite you to spend money you do not have. The bills will arrive in the mail. And the voice of fear will whisper that this is too hard, that you should just go back to sleep. This is the moment of decision. This is the moment that separates the dreamers from the achievers. You must realize that indecision is a decision. If you do not actively choose to be wealthy, you are passively choosing to be poor. Poverty requires no plan. Failure requires no effort. You do not have to do anything to fail. You just have to drift. But success requires a declaration of war against the status quo. I want you to fast forward in your mind. I want you to use the incredible power of your imagination to travel 20 years into the future. Imagine you continue on your current path. Imagine you change nothing. You keep spending everything you earn. You keep neglecting your self-education. You keep blaming the economy. Look at that version of yourself 20 years from now. Look at the stress in their eyes. Look at the fear. They are 20 years older, but they are not free. They are still chained to a job they might hate. They are dependent on the government or their children. They are filled with the bitter taste of regret. They are thinking about the day they watched this video and decided to do nothing. They are thinking about the millions of dollars that slipped through their fingers. Can you feel their pain? That is the pain of regret, and it weighs tons. It is a crushing weight that breaks the human spirit. Now I want you to imagine a different future. Imagine that today you decide enough is enough. Imagine that today you draw a line in the sand and say, I will not live like this anymore. You start paying yourself first. You start reading. You start controlling your emotions. You start building your value. Now look at that version of yourself 20 years from now. Look at the peace in their eyes. They are free. They have financial dignity. They have the resources to help their family and their community. They wake up every morning not because they have to, but because they want to. They are the master of their time. They look back at this day not with regret, but with gratitude. They remember this as the day everything changed. Which future do you want? The choice is not out there in the wind. The choice is right here in your mind. You must understand that you are the problem and you are the solution. This is the most empowering realization you can ever have. If the government was the problem, you would be helpless. If the economy was the problem, you would be a victim. But if you are the problem, then you have the power to fix it. You can change. You can learn new skills. You can adopt new disciplines. You can rewrite the script. The 97% are victims. The 3% are creators. You were created to create, not to survive. You were designed for accomplishment, not for stagnation. Do not let the small thinking of others shrink your reality. Do not let the noise of the world drown out the whisper of your potential. This journey we are on is not just about money. I want to make that crystal clear. If you think this is just about having a big bank account, you have missed the point. This is about who you become in the process of building that account. It is about the character you forge in the fire of discipline. It is about the person you must become to attract success. The money is just the scorecard. The real prize is the person you see in the mirror. A person of integrity. A person of vision. A person of control. That is true wealth. When you have that kind of internal wealth, no one can take it away from you. The market can crash, the currency can collapse, but you will still be you. You will still have the skills and the mindset to build it all back again. So what must you do right now? Do not leave this video without a commitment. Motion creates emotion. Action cures fear. I challenge you to take 3 specific steps today. Not tomorrow, today. First, I want you to write down your financial goals. Get a piece of paper and a pen. Do not type it. Write it. There is magic in the connection between the hand and the brain. Write down exactly what you want. How much net worth? By what date? And most importantly, write down why. Why do you want it? Is it for freedom? Is it for your children? Is it to prove someone wrong? Find your why. If your why is strong enough, the how will figure itself out. Second, I want you to open a separate savings account today. Call it your freedom fund. Put something in it. I do not care if it is $5. Put it there and make a solemn vow to yourself that you will never touch the principal of that fund. That money is your army. You are the general. Do not kill your soldiers. Start the habit of paying yourself first. Break the cycle of consumption. Prove to yourself that you are in control. Third, I want you to commit to your education. Buy a book on finance. Subscribe to a podcast. Commit to the 30 minutes a day of study. Turn off the news and turn on the wisdom. You need to wash your brain. Your brain has been brainwashed by a society that wants you to be a broke consumer. You need to wash it with the soap of wisdom and the water of truth. You need to reprogram your operating system. And this brings me to a very special invitation. You cannot walk this road alone. The path to the 3% is a lonely path if you try to walk it in isolation. The world around you will try to drag you down. Your friends might mock you. Your family might not understand. You need a tribe. You need a community of people who are also striving for excellence. You need to surround yourself with people who are asking the same questions and fighting the same battles. That is what we are building here on this channel. This is not just a YouTube channel. This is a gathering place for the 3%. This is a university of self-reliance. If you felt a spark while watching this video, if you felt something waking up inside of you, then I invite you to join us. Click that subscribe button right now. Do not do it for me. Do it for yourself. Do it as a statement of intent. When you subscribe, you are raising your hand and saying, I am in. I am part of this movement. I am committed to my growth. By joining this community, you are ensuring that you will have a constant stream of high-value ideas flowing into your life. You are putting yourself in the environment of growth. And remember, environment is stronger than willpower. If you stay connected to this fire, you will stay warm. If you drift away, you will grow cold. We publish these videos to serve you, to give you the tools that the school system never gave you, to remind you of your power when you feel weak, to give you the strategy when you feel lost. But we can only help you if you stay connected. So hit the notification bell. Make an appointment with your future self to watch every single video we release. Treat this channel as your mentor. Let us walk this path together. You do not have to figure it all out by yourself. We have the map. We have the flashlight. All you have to do is walk. I want to leave you with a final thought. Life is fragile, and time is the most precious resource we have. We act as if we have forever, but we do not. The clock is ticking. Every second that passes is a second you can never get back. You can earn more money, but you can never earn more time. Do not waste another year of your life drifting. Do not waste another year hoping for a break. Be the break. Be the change. The world is starving for leadership. The world is looking for people who have their lives together. Be that person for your family. Be that person for your community. You have greatness within you. I know it because you are still watching. The 97% clicked away 10 minutes ago to watch a cat video, but you are still here. That tells me something about you. It tells me that you are hungry. It tells me that you are searching. It tells me that you have the seed of the 3% inside you. Now you must water it. You must protect it. You must let it grow. Go out there and set your sail. Face the wind with courage. Create value with intensity. Manage your resources with discipline. Master your emotions with logic. Plant your seeds with patience. And learn with curiosity. If you do these things, I promise you that you will not only build a fortune, you will build a life that matters, a life that inspires, a life that will be remembered long after you are gone. The doors to the prison of the 97% are unlocked. They have always been unlocked. You can walk out anytime you choose. You just have to stand up and walk. Today is the day you stand up. Today is the day you walk. Today is the day you claim your birthright of abundance. I believe in you. I believe in your capacity to change. I believe that your best days are not behind you, they are in front of you. But you must seize them. The future belongs to the bold. The future belongs to the disciplined. The future belongs to you. So go make it happen. Subscribe to the channel, join the 3%, and let us get to work. I will see you at the top because the bottom is far too crowded. Thank you and goodbye for now. The doors to the prison of the 97% are unlocked. They have always been unlocked. You can walk out anytime you choose. You just have to stand up and walk. Today is the day you stand up. Today is the day you walk. Today is the day you claim your birthright of abundance. If this message resonated with you, if you feel the shift happening, please like this video to help us spread this philosophy to others who need it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and join our community of the 3%. But most importantly, check the description below or click the video on your screen to continue your journey with our next deep dive into personal mastery. The map is in your hands. The path is clear. I will see you in the next video. Thank you, and go make your life a masterpiece.